On my channel, I've created a lot of videos on how my family eats healthy on a budget. And the method that we have for meal planning and prepping has received a lot of comments and questions. I honestly didn't realize that my family eats so differently until I started posting this content and have received all of the feedback. The main reason that we eat the way we do is because we are a neurodivergent household. Everyone in my family is neurodivergent in some fashion, whether that's ADHD, autism, sensory processing, auditory processing issues, or executive functioning. We all have multiple different types of neurodivergencies that can really affect the way that we eat. I do strongly believe that the way that we eat can really benefit everybody. Even if you're not a neurodivergent household, it can save you time, it can save money, it reduces food waste, reduces stress, and can help you achieve your food goals through making mindful food choices. So our way of eating can be helpful for everybody, but I really wanted to focus this video on why it's especially helpful for neurodivergent families. If your family is neurodivergent like ours, I hope this video will really help you overcome some of the struggles that are associated with food and eating among neurodivergent people. Eating can be very challenging for families like ours. People who are autistic have a lot of sensory issues around food and food aversions. People who have ADHD can become overwhelmed with the concept of planning meals and preparing meals. Because we've had all of these struggles, we have really created systems and methods that has helped us to overcome a lot of these struggles and make eating and food a very simple, streamlined process. So let me share with you our biggest problems that we've had around food and eating, and then the solutions that we have found to fix these problems. Most people eat 3 meals a day and snacks. It is a constant thing to need to feed yourself, and then also if you have children or other people who are dependent on you, you also have to feed them. So just the constant need to plan and prepare food and feed people who are dependent on you can be very overwhelming. So our solution to needing to feed everybody all the time is we meal plan. Once a week, I devise a meal plan and we know exactly what we're going to eat for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks for the entire week. There is something called decision fatigue, which especially affects neurodivergent people, where when you have to make multiple decisions throughout the day, it just really wears on you. If you get to the point where you're making a whole lot of decisions, you can even develop decision paralysis, where you just simply can't make a decision at all. Decision fatigue can lead people to make unhealthy eating choices just because it's easy and they can't plan a healthy meal to eat if they haven't pre-planned it. And then decision paralysis can cause people to just not eat at all because the thought of finding something to eat and preparing it is so overwhelming. So meal planning is going to be very helpful in solving the problem of constantly needing to decide what you're going to be eating. Cooking every single day is a tedious task that can be very just boring and overwhelming. I like cooking occasionally and I enjoy cooking, but when I have to do it every single day over and over and over again, it becomes just horrible and I hate it. The solution I've come up for this is I batch prep my meals once a week. So I spend, a few hours once a week making all of our meals, and so throughout the week we just heat them up and go. Especially at night at the end of the day when everybody's tired and I've had a busy day and I would just want to relax, like the thought of preparing dinner for everybody is just overwhelming to me. So having the meals already planned and cooked has made my life significantly less stressed. It also makes cooking more fun because I'm only having to do it once a week. So the idea of meal planning is great, but that concept in and of itself can be really overwhelming when you're having to plan multiple meals for the whole week at one time. So what I have found is we eat the same breakfast, lunch, and dinner all week. So I am only having to plan 3 meals. And that idea is really the most different in the way that we eat, is by eating the same thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner all week. But usually neurodivergent people, especially if you're on the autism spectrum, we prefer to eat the same thing all the time anyway. So instead of planning just 21 different meals, I'm only having to plan for 3 meals. This makes planning and prepping so much easier. And it also saves money because I am able to really hone in and shop the sales for that week. And I can also buy items in bulk. So it just really cuts costs down a whole lot. Some people will comment that they get tired of eating the same thing every day. And there are ways around eating the exact same thing. Maybe if you don't want to eat the same thing for all of your meals, maybe you can eat the same breakfast and same lunch for the whole week and plan different dinners. We just like to eat the exact same thing all week, and that works for us, but you can tailor this to your family's needs. People who are autistic are notoriously picky eaters and generally have some sort of food aversion. This is because they have sensory issues, and a lot of foods, their tastes, their textures are just overwhelming to them. So only needing to pick 3 meals for the week really makes it easier for me to make sure that everybody in my family can enjoy those 3 meals. If I have to come up with 21 different meals that everyone is going to enjoy, then that can become overwhelming. One of the benefits of meal prepping the food and having it in the refrigerator ready to go is that everybody likes their food a little bit differently. For example, I like my food really hot. I like to reheat it so that it is very hot and then it cools down to the perfect temperature for me. But one of my kids likes their food cold. They literally never heat up their food. Whatever it is we're having, they eat it cold right out of the refrigerator. And then both my husband and one of my other daughters needs their food warmed up just a little bit to the perfect temperature, and that is the way that they need to eat it, warm. So being able to reheat the food to meet each person's needs is really important. There's also sometimes some ingredients that everybody doesn't like. So when I meal prep a food, I might leave out that ingredient so that other people can add it if they want to that meal. So for example, if we're making like a bootable where we have like a base of quinoa and then a bunch of different roasted veggies on top and then like a dressing, everybody might have the quinoa as the base and then add the veggies that they like to it and put the dressing on it that they like. So I usually make like a dressing for everybody, but maybe one of my kids doesn't like that type of dressing and they want to use ketchup or something like that. They can do that and still get the benefit of all of the other healthy ingredients. It just makes it a lot more flexible to meet everybody's needs. It also encourages my family to try new foods in a safe way. So let's say that we love a certain curry recipe and I'm wanting my kids to try, let's say, eggplant, and they've never had eggplant before, or they think that they might not like eggplant. I'll be like, hey, let's try eggplant this week. I'm gonna put it into this curry recipe that I know that you love, and maybe you'll like the eggplant. And 9 times out of 10, like, we like the food because we already are in love with the curry, and the eggplant being added in there really doesn't change the flavor at all. So that's been a really good way to introduce my kids to new foods, is by slowly adding different ingredients to recipes that we already love. Neurodivergent people generally really like structure and routine, and my family is no different. Everybody needs their own schedule and routine, and sometimes it's really hard to get everybody on the same schedule and routine. So having meals available to heat up when my family's ready to eat them. Really encourages my kids to eat when they're hungry and not just because everybody else is and they're being forced to eat and follow somebody else's schedule. Now, we do homeschool and we are home together a lot and we do a lot of things together. So family meals are not something that's super vital in my household. I understand how that might be in somebody else's household to sit down and eat together. But for us, for the way our family functions, it's just better for us to be able to eat as we go throughout our day as we need to. Going to a grocery store can be extremely overwhelming. That is something that I really struggle with, is all of the sensory overload inside of a grocery store. And one way to avoid this is to order your groceries online. You can use services like Instacart that do charge a fee, or you can do it for free. I know Walmart has free grocery store pickup where you can just order online and then go and pick up your groceries. And that can really decrease the amount of choices and all of that stuff by walking into a grocery store. So I've done this in the past, but I'm not currently doing this because I, one, like to pick out my own produce. We eat a whole lot of produce and I'm very picky about my produce. So I like to go in and choose it. And then also we're on a very low budget, and the grocery store that I like to shop at for really good deals on produce doesn't offer this service. So I've just been going to the grocery store and doing my own shopping or sending my husband to do it. But if you are overwhelmed by going grocery shopping, ordering your groceries online is a really, really good option. Having a plan and only buying what you need really reduces the amount of food waste that our family produces. When we didn't have a plan and we were going grocery shopping, we had all the best intentions of buying healthy foods, but then when it actually came time to implement cooking them, it just was overwhelming, especially if we had had a busy day or something like that. And produce especially goes bad really fast. If you don't have a plan for cooking that produce or even going ahead and preparing it, then it's very easy for it to just go bad and get thrown out. So by meal planning, prepping, batch cooking, we have reduced almost all of our food waste. If there is anything left over at the end of the week that we didn't use, I can create a meal that I can use those ingredients in the meal for the following week. Let me know in the comments below what challenges your family faces when it comes to eating, whether you're a neurodivergent household or not. If there's anything that you want me to touch more on, I would be more than happy to go over that with you. Every household's different, so maybe sharing some of your problems and solutions can help other families. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching.